Welcome back. As I mentioned at the outset of the show, this is a story that I lick my lips and I'm so excited for because we've got a couple of very important fellows in the studio tonight to talk about the upcoming Tour of Utah, which is without a doubt the greatest American professional bicycle race in existence. And I'm pleased to be joined by course designer and director Todd Hageman and local organizing committee member Mike McGurl. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Oh man, it's great to have you here on this particular day.
Absolutely.
That's pretty hot. So, course is announced today.
It was. This has been a day we've been waiting for weeks and months. There's a lot that goes into the courses, and we've been trying to keep this a secret for as long as possible. And it was with a lot of excitement and a fair amount of relief to be able to announce the courses today.
You can't go back now, right?
Can't go back now.
It's out there.
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about the process of designing a course. Obviously, we have a precedent of a number of years now with various courses, and people, I think, come to expect certain things, and yet by the same token, there's always, I would imagine, kind of the pressure for some, I don't want to say novelty, that's not really the right word, but
right.
A newness, a freshness to the course. To an extent every year. Talk about the process.
Yeah, my pleasure. The process starts actually in right after the previous year's race concludes, and we go out to cities, and it starts with the cities and what cities are interested in hosting the next year's Tour of Utah. And so once we've solidified the cities, then we go into the course design, where we're going to be starting and finishing, and then we incorporate, there's got to be a certain flow to the races. We don't want the race to be over after day one. We want to build the excitement, which I think we've done quite well this year, we hope. And then that goes into the course design, and then there's such a large footprint with hospitality, and this year, since we're going to be on live TV nationwide, we've got TV compounds, we've got hospitality, we've got all these different elements in the footprint. You just can't put that anywhere. And so all of those elements come into play, as well as working with emergency services, police department. You just have to make sure that the road's available. Construction in Utah in the summertime is always a huge element in making sure that we work with, take into consideration all those elements.
Is there any way to be prepared for your job?
You know, this is my second year doing it. Last year was my first, and I raced the first 5 editions of the Tour of Utah. And so I came from a bike racer background, and from this area I've always had that, and I've put on a couple of races myself, I've always had that desire and passion to create really interesting race courses. And the first thing I learned when I started this job is you just can't, there's your dream courses, right, and then there's your realistic dream courses, because there's things that of course you can't do, because a race of this size just doesn't fit everywhere that you can dream to go.
Well, and even as you were mentioning the logistics of back office operations, as it were.
Exactly.
I mean, that triggered, as we spoke before we came on camera, you know, I'm the ultimate armchair guy who would, you know, we could sit here all night and talk about philosophies and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, the best way to just orchestrate the drama. But all of that, I kind of got a little shudder thinking about moving this caravan, as they say, around and having the race just be one component of a much larger project.
Yeah, and absolutely. And we are moving, on top of 130 riders, we are moving, the race caravan itself is another 100 vehicles. So the package itself at some points is miles long, and you're coming through these communities, some large, some very small. That's quite an impact, and especially when you get into these longer days and breakaways, you can imagine how that race package stretches and moves down these highways and these cities and pass-through communities. It's a significant impact, and we appreciate all of our the communities that we go through. So it's not just the organizers' efforts. There's a lot of effort that goes into a lot of the agencies and the communities that we're involved with.
And an interesting thing, Mike, thanks for coming to think about all the different perspectives of you're trying to make the best race, you're trying to move the caravan around, but now we switch to someone and a group who has a very different perspective on what we want from this race, what is best for us, the residents. Talk about your perspective in participating in this process.
It's amazing to have a world-class event with some of the best athletes in the world here in Park City is exciting for me as a huge bike racing fan. But and it's not just the day of the race. I think a lot of it is to see these pro cyclists out on the roads that we ride every day. And
huge.
A lot of them will be here before training and then after, before they go to another race in Colorado. So it's really kind of a unique situation for us. And then Stage 6 is going to be really exciting. It may be one of the biggest sporting days we've ever had in Park City. We're going to have a start and finish in between Zoom and the Kimball Arts Center. So you'll be able to watch the start of the race, they'll go out, do the route, then they'll come back and finish there. During the day, we'll have an expo, Health and Wellness Expo up on Main Street, along with Park City Silly Market, which is going to be going on simultaneously. So just a terrific day, and those that remember the criterion we had couple of years ago. I mean, what a huge day we're going to have here. So it's going to be exciting.
For sure. Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back and talk about all of the stages and then really hone in on our favorites here in Park City.
Will do.
We're going to take a quick break. More Tour of Utah when we come back. Please stay tuned.